Welcome to the Book Tasters, from young adult to tween and everything in between. The Book Tasters serve up the tastiest reviews of today's and yesterday's greatest stories. I'm your host, Timothy J. Burdick, and I'm joined today by my co-host for the week, Madalin. Madalin, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic. So it's snowing outside today, and it's December, and we're in Michigan. And snow is typical of Michigan weather in December. Do you have any plans for the weekend or for the day or for the recess to play in the snow?
Well, I was thinking of playing volleyball outside during recess. And I'm curious if Cannonsburg is gonna open up soon.
Nice.
I might go snowboarding soon.
That would be fun. So snowboarding, but I can imagine playing volleyball in the snow. That must really hurt the hands. I mean, if you're going to spike it and you have a really hard ball, I mean, that's not going to be very comfortable. Are you sure you want to reconsider maybe something else, maybe like sledding or slipping or sliding or doing something else with snow?
Well, in recess, we're not really allowed to do that.
Oh, that's right. There's so many rules against snow in recess.
And for spiking, hitting the ball hard is good practice.
That makes sense.
You want your hand to hurt.
That makes sense. I heard once, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a very famous football player named Jerry Rice. He was a big-time player in the 1980s, 1990s, wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Was told that he actually, in order to practice to catch balls, he would catch bricks.
That must really hurt his hands.
Yeah, I can imagine, but his hands must have been so incredibly strong. That's why he was that's why he became a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Yeah, I wonder who's throwing them at him.
Well, he had some pretty good quarterbacks in his day, one being probably one of the most famous quarterbacks of all time, Joe Montana. But that's enough of my facts. You brought some facts with you today as well, too, right? Mm-hmm. Why don't you throw some facts at us?
Well, humans are the only animals whose brains shrink.
Our brains shrink?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Okay. I wonder if that's a good thing, having a smaller brain. Do you think that might have something to do with the fact that our bodies actually get smaller, too? Therefore, our brains must also get smaller?
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if having a smaller brain could actually be a positive thing.
Well, you wouldn't be able, in my opinion, you wouldn't be able to fit as much information into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're so logical. All right, I got one for you, too. Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis, one of my favorite authors of all time, died on the same day as John F. Kennedy.
That's very sad.
It is sad. It's not a very nice fact, but I'm hoping they didn't die in the same way. Being assassinated, I assume, would probably be one of the worst ways to die. At least that's one of the worst ways I can imagine to die. Mm-hmm. I hope that, at some time in my life, I'm very old, and I'm surrounded by the people I love, and then that's the moment when, I'll be calling home, right?
Mm-hmm. Same.
Let's hope so. All right, you got another one?
Yeah. Cell phones are actually full of bacteria.
Ooh, gross. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's why, you don't want to technically take someone else's cell phone, because you're basically taking all their bacteria and everything that they've touched in the last... Gosh, they don't even... Like, washing your hands is something, but washing your cell phone?
Yeah.
How many people actually wash their cell phone?
I sometimes wash my screen.
Your screen on your phone itself?
Yeah.
And okay, that makes sense. But, man, I've never... now I think I have to take my cell phone to some sort of cleaner itself, because I don't even think, even with my own, bacterial disinfectant wipes, could actually take care of everything that no, I'm just going to stop right there. That's not good.
Yeah.
All right, I got another one. Bees can detect bombs.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I've heard of dogs, but I've never heard of bees.
Yeah, I've also heard of dogs, detecting cancer.
Ooh, I haven't heard that. That's new to me.
Yeah, maybe they're related somehow.
I wonder if bees can detect cancer.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting. How do you train a bee to detect a bomb?
I have absolutely no idea. They must, train themselves or just know the smell.
Oh, that might make sense, the smell. Yeah, because they're always hived around a bomb-like figure in their honeycomb. And inside of it, they have all the different sections and places. I wonder if that has anything to do with their understanding of where a bomb could be.
Yeah, it might.
Can you imagine the person who came up with that idea? Instead of using dogs, why don't we just train bees?
Yeah, they can sting you.
Yeah, that's true.
And it'd be very hard to see them if they're small enough.
That's true. They could get into spaces that dogs could not and humans could not. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I've also heard of robots being able to detect the bombs as well. It's a good thing that we have several different ways to detect bombs because
Yeah.
I think just being human is not being a good bomb detector.
Nope.
All right, I know you got one more for me.
Yeah. So paper bags can be worse for the environment than plastic ones.
Okay, they can be worse. Wait,
Yeah.
no. That's not true, isn't that? Because I've always heard the opposite, that it's the paper bags that are the best.
Nope.
No, why not?
I don't know, but I guess we're using more of them, and that's actually destroying trees. And like I guess it's cutting down trees, and you don't have as much living creatures and loss of habitat.
No, that makes sense. So when you make a plastic bag, obviously it lasts longer, and you can recycle it and reuse it.
Yeah.
Paper bags, though, I think as long as they don't have like food attached to them or something like that that could go bad,
Yeah.
they can't be recycled. So they would. I don't know. That's a different one because I never thought about the fact that we're using more paper bags. We would have to cut down more trees.
Yeah.
Therefore, there would be less environments for all of our creatures in the world.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're making some very logical sense. I always
Yeah.
like that about you, Madalin. You're very logical.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
is there another one you got?
Yeah, I have one more that's related to my book.
Okay.
Super twins are not just triplets; they're quadruplets, quintuplets, etc.
Oh, say that again. So, like, there's twins, and then there's
Yeah.
triplets and quadruplets, but what's the super twins?
So super twins, they're like, they're like, I guess you could call a like triplet or quadruplet a super twin, because I mean they're not just twins, they're super, like, because there's more of them.
Okay, that makes sense. It's because it's more than. That's what super means, more than, right? So it's beyond something that's normal.
Yeah.
And so twins would be the normal thing. Super twins would be the abnormal, the more than the twins thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So this book itself, Super Twins, who's it by? We have it by C.J. Omololu. And tell me a little bit about the book.
So the third twin is about these pair of twins, and they don't know about their mother. They were found on the steps of their now dad's restaurant, which they're not even related to him, and he found them and started raising them, and they've had some problems. They've created their third twin, which is like imaginary. They pretend to be Alicia, their third twin, and they do some naughty stuff and blame it on her whenever they do something wrong.
Oh, dear. Okay, so what type of genre would this be?
I would either consider it horror or mystery, because there's a lot of like, I wouldn't say ghost stories, but it's more about just like creepy kind of like scenes in the book.
Okay, so when you say creepy type of scenes, are these the type of things that might keep a reader up at night because they're so really well written and they're really scary and they make you feel like you're in the scene? Or are they just kind of like, okay, that was scary, I'm glad that would never happen to me in real life, but what kind of scenes are they? Are they like the kinds that really, really give you like the shivers, or are they the kind that will keep you up at night?
Keep you up at night, and some of them may give you the shivers. I would definitely recommend reading this during the day and not at night.
Okay, that makes sense. So this is the type of fear, the type of horror story that would technically be kind of like believable. Like things could occur in this way in the
Yeah.
world if you were to stretch your imagination. It's not like, blood and guts, like Freddy Krueger is going to come and, things like that. It's more like this is kind of a believable type of fear that kind of sets in.
There was one scene that was mentioned a couple of times, but happened to different people, that you would definitely believe that it could happen in real life, and I'm pretty sure it has.
Okay, that's good to know because me personally, when it comes to like choosing movies and things like that, going to a horror movie is not my first choice. I usually don't like them. I'll go to them if I have to, but I would prefer to go to the ones that are so outlandish that they could never possibly happen. I don't mind those as much as because the ones that could possibly happen, those are the ones that are the most scary to me. What about you?
Well, I love horror. I think it's very interesting along with mystery. So I would definitely try to go see a horror movie, and I have read many, many horror books.
Okay, so if you were to put on a spectrum all the horror books that you've read up until this point, where would the third twin be?
It would be one of my top choices and top books I've read.
Why would you say that?
Well, there's a lot of action in it. There's great detail in the book that CJ, the author, put into it that just wants to make you keep reading and you don't want to put it down.
Okay. So I think it's interesting that horror would be mixed in with mystery. How far along are you in the book?
I actually have finished the book.
Okay, fantastic. So without giving any spoilers, obviously they're leading up to some sort of discovery. That's what all mysteries do.
Yeah.
But they're doing it in a way that's through the horror genre.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel that at the very end, you still felt that the horror was still alive? Was it kind of like a cliffhanger ending? Like, oh, this is something that could continue to be? Like maybe a second book in a series? Or is it a one-and-done type thing? Mystery was solved, and now everybody can go back to living their normal lives?
Well, I would say there's a couple cliffhangers. I do not want to say them. It'd be a spoiler. But there would also be, there's some happiness in the end that you think it's just all done.
Okay, I like that. So, one thing I do want to ask you, because it's very rare that we have students reading in the horror genre, and it's very rare that we actually get them on the show too. That being said, if someone to come up to you and say, "Oh, I've never read anything in the horror genre. That's just I like fantasy, I like historical fiction, I like realistic fiction, but horror is just not for me." What would you say to that person?
Well, I would say that you should at least try it. And if you don't like it, like the first couple chapters, and like you just can't read it because it's too scary, well, I would just say try it because it's really good, and there are more genres along with horror in some of the horror books.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You do actually say, you made a really good point there too. You're saying that horror does kind of actually exist in those other books too. I'm just thinking about Harry Potter, for example.
Yeah.
There are some really dark scenes in the Harry Potter series and the whole Harry Potter universe. I'm thinking especially the continuation of Harry Potter with what's the name of the continuation, the Grindelwald. I'm just thinking of the movies off the top of my head. Oh, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of deep tension and darkness in surrounding the stories because of the fact that there are these Death Eaters. There is this negative force that is kind of scary. And so I think one thing that you could do, when talking to students about reading the horror genre, is to say, you know what, there's little bits of horror inside most of the books that we read, because whatever is evil, whatever is dark, kind of is a springboard to what the horror genre is. It's just that the horror genre takes those and basically puts them on steroids and just explodes them. Am I right?
Yeah, it's like all about the horror like characters and not just the good characters, which most books are like.
That's true. Yeah. Well, you have brought the book with us, and I know you've chosen a scene to be able to read to us. I'm going to pass it to you right there. And yeah, I'll just let you take the floor while I talk a little bit about the horror genre in general. Obviously, if you're listening to this and you're interested in the horror genre, the first thing you want to do is talk to your librarian and talk to your teacher so they can recommend you some good books in the horror genre. There are some that might be a little bit too deep, too dark, at least for your age level, and we don't want you to jump into those books first, because then you'll be scarred for life and never want to read the horror genre. There are good things that come from this genre.
Yeah.
However, you need to be very careful with how you choose them.
Yep. Okay. Maya gives me a sad smile as she walks me to my locker. All I can see of Ava is the back of her head as she rests in front of me. So much for getting back to normal. Are you going to be okay today? Maya asked me. I tried to focus on getting my books into my backpack. I borrowed them from Ava. And not at the way everyone's staring at me, I guess. I answer. It's better than sitting around at home waiting for the lawyer to call us. Plus, Dad thinks that going to school is some kind of punishment. But it's good to get out of there. It's like everyone at home is just holding their breath, waiting for the next bad thing to happen. School can't be worse than that. At least I hope not. I need something to get me through the next 8 hours until we meet with Miss Alvarez. Maya glances over my shoulder. You should know what you're walking into. People are talking. I wince, although I'm not surprised. It's not like yesterday's events went unnoticed, I figured, I say. It's not every day that someone gets let out of school in handcuffs. Not our school, anyway, she smiles, but she doesn't look happy. but most people say they don't believe you did it. Well, that's comforting, I say. Watching people swarm the hallway, a girl I don't know in a swim team hoodie glances at me and then grabs the girl in front of her so she can look too. I wonder if they actually think I did it. I'm sure it will all get fixed soon, Maya says. The cops know what they're doing. I can barely manage to grunt and reply. As we walk away from my locker, I see people whispering and turning away. Everyone tries to be casual, but I can feel the glances like ice on my skin as we head toward the quad. Maya squeezes my hand, and she turns toward Building A. It's going to be okay. I'll meet you for lunch, all right? I nod, not trusting my voice, feeling like a kindergartner on the first day of school. It's like the cops have given me a magic power that renders people completely silent in the minute I come within 3 feet of them. Everyone's talking at a normal volume until they see me. Then it's dead silence. Pun intended. I make it through the first 3 periods by staring either straight ahead or down at my books. Apparently, I was wrong. The only thing worse than sitting at home and waiting for the bad things to happen is being at school and waiting for the bad things to happen, knowing that half the people around you are looking forward to the show. Hey, Zane says, pulling me toward him with one arm around my shoulder as I walk to Spanish. 24 hours ago, things were so different. I feel so much bottled up energy. I'm not sure how I'm going to sit at my desk and conjugate verbs for an hour. Hey yourself, I say, trying to pretend that I'm not on the verge of losing it. Thanks again for calling Miss Alvarez. She's been cool. Anytime. Glad to see you. She got you out of the joint. He looks around at the people in the quad. No, Ava? I shrug. I haven't seen her since she bowled out of the car and this morning. She's not exactly helping things anyway. Zane looks concerned. Did you guys have a fight? Sort of. Not really. I try to put words into it, but I can't. She's just been different lately. I look away from him. I don't know. Zane is silent for a moment. You don't really think Ava had something to do with this? He finally asked. I don't want to think about it right now. I don't want to try to come up with reasonable explanations for all the clues that seem to be pointing right at us. Zane touches my arm. Because whatever's going on, she'd never do something like that to you. She was a wreck. When they took you away yesterday and I saw her in Annie in 9th grade, she was not that good of an actress. I don't answer. I want to believe him. I really do. I want to know that Ava would never betray me like that. She's been part of me since we were born. And while there's none of that mystical twin stuff with us, no private languages, no feelings of pain when she gets hurt, no telepathy, I can't imagine not having her next to me.
Nice. Now, I think that section particularly requires a little bit of background. What's going on in the scene?
Lexi, the main character in the book, just got taken away for being accused of a murder, and which she got taken out of school right in the middle in handcuffs, and everybody started crowding around her and watching her getting loaded into the car.
I see. That makes sense. So now we have people reacting to she's back in school, and they're figuring out how she got out of the whole situation. And we still don't know who the murderer is at this point.
That happens towards the end.
Okay, very good. How does the third twin come into this piece then?
Well, the third twin, which is essentially Alicia, their pretend twin, but later on in the book, they meet somebody that they had no idea was actually part of their lives, and they meet their mother, and there's some really exciting stuff that happens later on in the book.
Nice. Well, I think we'll leave it at that. That way we can have our listeners get a hold of a copy. The book is called The Third Twin by C.J. Omololu, and we'll get that in on our description of the show so that you can find a place to go get it. Again, the horror genre, something we definitely don't want to take lightly, but at the same time, it's something worth exploring, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Madalin, for stopping by, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week when we have our final Book Tasters episode for the year. We'll be taking 2 weeks off for the winter vacation. But until then, come and visit us at thebooktasters.com, thebooktasters.com. And you can also find us on social media via me, my social media feeds at Timothy J. Burdick, both on Instagram, Twitter, and of course on Facebook and YouTube. So we will see you on the next week, but thank you so much for stopping by, Madalin. You did a great job.